doing some quick administrative things, and here we go. All right, guys. Hello. How's it going? Welcome to another Thursday night Greenville GAB show. As you know, I am Aubree, and we bring you live as we go answers to your questions about the Greenville upstate, but then also, I don't know, I like to tell stories, tell you kind of how it is here, be authentic about real estate, life, all those things, and what's coming soon. So tonight we have a fun lineup of different things coming for us. I do want to say I am getting over being sick, which I don't know what I got, but it completely knocked me out. And last week I had no voice, and this week I am a little scratchy. So anyways, so bear with me. And if I cough or anything like that, it's because I'm still getting over it. So that's why we weren't here last week. But this week, I am bringing you some fun war stories from the real estate world. But then also, we are joined by my guest, who you have met here before, Mr. Brian McIntosh. Hello. Yay.
Round of applause.
Round of applause. Round of applause. So, Brian, you are still a lender with Homeowners Financial.
Yep.
As much as I'm sure other people have tried to get you to other companies. But you love those guys over there. They're great.
Yep. Good people. You want to stick with good people.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So we got all sorts of things to chat through, but as people are coming into the comments, do me a favor, go over there, tell us where you're watching from, and would love to say hello and again answer your questions live. That's why we're here. So anyways, Brian, wow, I don't know about you, has the real estate market picked up at all in the last 2-3 weeks?
I would, it's I guess my scope would be bigger, actually.
Okay.
I think I'm catching up to where you guys were. So I remember beginning of the year, after holidays were over, you're like, hey, things are just going bonkers right now. I think I was a little bit delayed, but when it hit me, it's just been going. It's just been going.
Me and you, we are closing 4 transactions in the month of May. 4
or 5, one of the two.
Yeah, something like that.
I've counted. And then I had to count again. I'm like Spirit of Finding Nemo. Unfortunately, I relate to Dory very, very well. So
just keep swimming.
Yeah.
I feel that because that is how I have felt the last, I don't know, 2-3 weeks. Because it's like everybody decided to come in, not this past weekend, but the weekend before. But they also came in this past weekend. And we did 3 contracts this last weekend, me personally. Then we also did 3 contracts the weekend before that. And just, it's been insane. So I don't know about you, but I've had some crazy stuff happening in just our deals. Like stuff that people don't even think about. Like I had a house that their septic tank was so old that the drain field doesn't work anymore. And it's the second time I found it this year. I don't know. Septic tanks are the bane of my existence in real estate.
They can be, it's interesting the pitfalls that you find. And I was kind of thinking about this earlier today because I was going, there's a lot of things as a lender that we have to, we comb through and look through. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I wonder what it's like on the real estate side as a real estate agent for you when you're talking about doing paperwork and when you're doing showings, you're walking through houses with people and you're looking for those potential pitfalls, right? That could mess up a deal. Yeah. You don't, because nothing stinks worse than when you're halfway through and you go, there's that one thing that catches you and you went, we could have bought that, before we went under contract. Yeah.
Yeah. Or they don't do, you don't do all the inspections that you could have and you miss something. Or I don't know. Like, what are you're working the like number side of things. What do people forget about the most whenever they're doing their loans? I will say I heard that financing, I had a friend who you're doing their loan right now, said that financing was like getting a financial colonoscopy.
It can very much be that way. It is invasive. I'll tell you, it's invasive, right? Because
Yeah.
we're not just looking at your credit, looking at your bank statements. When we're looking at your bank statements, we're not just looking to see you have enough money, but we want to make sure that you don't have any debts that's not showing up in your credit report. You know, do you have money coming in from someplace that isn't, we got to source it. Like that's just bank statements alone. It's pretty invasive. We look at your pay stubs. Are you having wages garnished because of, I don't know, child support or alimony, right? Maybe some things can get very, very personal very fast. When we're doing that. Yeah, no joke.
Absolutely insanity. I had like the financial things, like, I don't know, I had a client text message me last week and he's like, "Hey, we're closing on the 20th. Do I need to pay my mortgage this month?" And I was like, "Please pay your mortgage."
Actually, that's actually a really good question. And here's an answer for you on that one.
Ooh, tell me.
If it's the payment, so if we're closing on the 20th, right? If it's, as long as it's the payment that we're talking about, that do I need to pay my May 1st mortgage payment for closing on the 20th?
Yeah.
The answer would be the right answer is yes, but you don't necessarily have to, because if you're closing on the 20th, that payoff is going to be sent to the mortgage company well before that 30-day mark.
They know that you're going to, like, it's going to be getting paid off.
Yeah, and worst case scenario here, and you're going to get hit with that 5% late fee, I think is what it is. So,
which, when your mortgage is thousands of dollars, sometimes that's a lot of money.
Oh yeah, it's a few $100s. It's a several $100 fee, right? So,
yeah,
but there are some people like a few $100, whatever. But the answer would be, you don't have to. You're going to pay for it regardless. It's going to come out of your net proceeds. So
that's good to know. So you felt an uptick in the real estate world. I felt an uptick in the real estate world just because, holy moly, it's the end of the school year and everybody's wanting to move. So, I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I keep seeing Greenville popping up. I saw another article. I think I saved it. Have to. Oh, I'm dying. Pull it up where it said that the recent census numbers showed that the upstate had unprecedented growth, population growth. I was like, no duh. Like 43% of our entire market is new construction. And we are at, I mean, it's insane. Do you think that'll slow down? Because I know we've been in an inventory crunch for quite some time, and now it's like too much new construction.
Right. It's interesting because when we were a few weeks ago, when we were at that event for the numbers, state of the market.
Yeah.
And the 43% is crazy, but they made a really good statement. When you look at the housing market, you can't look at the housing market as a whole. It's the same thing when you go check the weather, right? If you're going to go see what the weather forecast is for today, you're not going to turn on your TV and tune into San Francisco's news station for Greenville's weather, right? You're going to tune in for Greenville, South Carolina for the weather. Same thing when we're talking about real estate, right? So it's interesting we talk about maybe we have too much new construction here. You look at zoom out, you look at the nationwide numbers, there's not enough new construction, especially if you're in Southeast Texas and if you're in Florida. You're absolutely getting hammered with having too much inventory, or maybe we don't have enough. But there's a reason for that, right? There's a reason why we have a lot of new construction.
Yeah. I mean, and for the longest times, like, we're still here. Like, we were talking about this earlier. I'm going to go ahead and pull it up. These numbers. So here we are. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Boop, boop, boop. Too big. Like, just the inventory that's up year over year. That's 24, almost 25% more in inventory numbers. But here's the interesting thing. And I think we saw this at the State of the Market meeting that we were at a couple weeks ago, as well as this right here.
Right.
The pricing is starting to level off. So it's not necessarily like prices aren't, if you see something sitting on the market, if it's been on the market over 2 weeks and it doesn't have its price changed, then like you've got negotiating power upwards of like, I was having a conversation with somebody saying like you could negotiate somewhere between 3 to 8%, sometimes more off the price. And that's nuts. So pricing right, like if your realtor says, hey, we're going to price just slightly below market value on purpose, like I have so many people that won't listen to me on that. It's insane. And I want them to understand that you could move on and talk to Brian before, faster than if you just sit on the market forever. Right. Days on market, though, we're definitely in the summer market. Everything is selling a little bit faster, so that's good. And let's see here, what else? And we're up in volume, which means prices are still high, or higher priced homes are selling. That's something else that's in there too.
I like if you go halfway down, that sold number, sold between January 1st and March 31st. Yeah, up 9.2%. You're not seeing that across the country.
No.
This is very regional for us. Well, this is not even regional. Yeah. This is Greenville.
It's just Greenville. This doesn't have Spartanburg's MLS, Anderson's MLS, Greenwood has a little bit that they could offer, but not much. That right there answers like what's happening with all these people moving to Greenville. Well, look, there's their houses. Right. Year over year.
What's interesting too, I've already seen some names here. So we got friends in the chat box now.
What?
I have friends in the box now, which is super cool. Already saw a couple shout outs. That was awesome.
Love it.
But it is cool to see these perspectives that some of y'all are coming from other parts of the country, and it's indicative of why we were seeing this growth. It's not because it's just some weird anomaly nobody can explain. Is that we're seeing a lot of employment opportunities here. We've our friends that are working with us, or whether transferring their jobs, or maybe we just have the ability to. We've got a new job. We got some people working with that are moving from Florida, and it's like, hey, we're gonna have some opportunities, right? Yeah, a lot of people come from Florida.
Let's see here. Where are my names? So we've got. So came on the show early tonight. Came here from Austin. Let's see here. Who else we got? Then we've got John. John, you didn't miss anything last week. I was sick as sick could be. So there we go. And yep, we're going to go over some stuff that's happening around here. So Memorial Day weekend, I think, is the Scottish Games. So we're going to talk about that. And then let's see here. Who else? We got Glenn from Massachusetts. How it's going?
Hey.
And then, look at this. Juliana from North Dakota. Now, I heard that it got very hot there. Did you say it's your favorite?
That's my friend.
It's your friend. Aw. Also, did it get really hot in North Dakota this week? I saw something that was like in the 90s.
Oh, yeah. That's scary.
It's the weird you didn't see the memes on social media of the weird weather patterns and what they look like?
Did not this time. I probably will now that my phone is sitting right here.
Probably
it's listening. I'm gonna start seeing. Yeah, I'm gonna see them for the next 3 days.
I'm so sorry I did that to you. Let's see here. Look, Glenn's coming to work with Christy in June.
Oh, you gotta work with Christy.
She's awesome.
If it's not Aubree, it's gotta be Christy.
Yep. And we have the Rouleaus. Hello. And then let's see here. Who else? Whoa, all the people. Let's see here. And then we have Eric Eric, you're out in Cherokee now. You're not in Spartanburg. What happened? What? There we go. And then Diane's already hitting us with a question tonight. Let's see here. Do we find many houses that are not appraising close to asking or selling prices?
That's
You have a little bit more because all of mine right now, I've had a few not appraise.
right.
Very few. We had our first new construction not appraise a couple weeks ago.
Really? Oh, wow.
Mhm. When that starts happening, I start getting nervous. And but I am seeing, I don't know. Have you seen any appraisals coming in low?
I have received a few. And it's not, I wouldn't say it's indicative of the market. Everything, they're very unique situations. I will say that they're very unique situations. It just goes back to being very cognizant, paying attention to what are those most recent sales looking like? Not what did this house sell for 10 months ago in my neighborhood, and not just my neighborhood, what sold within neighborhoods around you and houses that are similar. And what I'm finding is kind of what you were alluding to earlier. We want to price at the top of the market, right? We want to price where things sold
No.
last year, maybe even, right?
Gotta price lower.
Right. And it's a tough conversation.
Yeah.
But I think that, I don't want to dive too deep into that because I know that comes down to the quality of the agent, right?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
But we do come across sometimes where we're close. I had one closed at the very beginning of this month.
Yeah.
And what happened there was a single wide. And so whenever you start talking about single wide, that's going to be tough anyways, but it was a single wide on a full acre. And so you're trying to find homes that are similar. We really, like we were talking about, we had to stretch out like, I think 15 or 20 miles to find like similar, and we were off by about 2,000 on the.
I mean, that's not bad.
It wasn't terrible.
No. I mean, I find that appraisals on lower priced homes, anything like below 500, like those are the ones that we struggle with appraisal most on.
Yeah.
So,
or borderline between that 200 to 300, high 200, low 300s, right? Where under 300, super high demand right now. And we got people that are kind of like, hey, how much can I get the most out of it, but stay within that competitive area. So,
I wish more people should just listen to us here. Here you go. Pricing at the top of the market to get your price is the worst thing you can possibly do. Yeah. Like, I've had so many people that I've like said, hey, this is not where you should, but then they end up with an appraisal problem. Or if it does sell, it's awesome. And maybe they don't get the appraisal problem. I had a realtor, you're actually on one side of this deal, Brian, like you're not doing the loan, you've got the client. Where the buyer's agent told me there's no way this house would appraise. And we got an appraisal waiver.
Yeah. And interesting enough, I just got another, it's a loan that I'm working on where I just got another appraisal waiver. And just for those who are listening, that means.
Yeah, explain it.
Yeah, it just means that when we submit these loan applications, they're getting run through Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, which are what we call government sponsored enterprises. They are the ones that govern my world for the most part. But they have rules, right? Yeah, no, that's pretty much what it is. But they have algorithms that read our applications and they look at the property and they can say, all right, it'll look at the financial strength of our borrower, but it also looks at the value of the house, and it looks at the value of the houses around it, and can somewhat get an idea of what that price should be. And if it's within that range, it'll give us a thumbs up. I mean, that's
go for it.
Glossed over how it works, but yeah, no appraisal needed.
I've heard appraisal waiver probably 4 different times this month already.
Nice. Look at you. That must feel good.
It's so nice. I'm like, and the way it's been explained to me before is just they're putting down enough money. They're putting
that's part of it for sure. Yeah, 20% down. The nice thing recently though is the GSEs, the government sponsored enterprises, actually kind of relaxed, made it easier to get an appraisal waiver now. So that's why you're also seeing more of them.
Okay. I think I'm okay with that. Let's
Yep.
see here. Okay, keep going. Abby's got a question for us. I don't have a morbid question. This is going to be fun. We have some aging neighbors being cared for by family members. Family plans to sell the home after the owner passes. How do we start the process of asking them to offer the sale to us?
I know
First,
the answer. I know the answer.
Brian, what would you do?
I would call Aubree Lewis. It's the answer.
That is the answer, actually. Let me handle it. Now, if you want to do it on your own, I could probably be really nice and talk you through that. But I'm going to tell you right now that a realtor handling that is probably your best bet, because they're not going to let either party. So here's what I look at when I see these, these like, hey, we want to do this, we want to buy. I would actually, before that family member is deceased, passed on, I would go and approach the family right now and not wait, because you don't know if they have probate happening. You don't know if there's a will in place. You could actually go and offer them a sweet deal where you go, hey, I could buy your house right now and you guys can just what are the expenses on the house and pay that. Like, is this person going to be passed in a year? Are they going to be passed in 10 years? Like, there's so many different variables of this, but if it were me, Abby, what I would do, and for you guys that are just joining us, here's the question again that was asked. One, contact your realtor. If you're here local and you know me, you should talk to me, because that's what I do for a living and I'm really good at it. So, all right, let's see here. Cynthia's here from Florida. Woohoo! Moving here from Florida. Cynthia, I had what do you mean that you're here now? Are you in town now? What? Okay. Clarify that for me, honey. Because I have another client who asked you a question on one of my last live streams. Where in Florida are you living, and what area are you going to be selling in? Because they are struggling. I think they're in the is it Port Charlotte? Maybe I forget. I'll have to look. It's Donna. Let's see here. Look. See, I was right.
Yep.
In the 90s for 3 days. That's insane.
We talk, and I talked weather with them. I believe we talked weather, Juliana, with you and your husband, and maybe not. If we didn't, I apologize. That right there, what she's describing sounds like our weather.
That's Midwestern weather, though. So
that's fair. Well, sometimes we'll hit that 90-degree mark, and then next thing you know, it's like, oh, guess what? Freeze warning.
Freeze warning. You're going to be in the 40s tomorrow.
Right. So if you're one of those people that puts all your winter clothes in the attic, you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, we don't do that. No. Let's see here. Glenn's got us here for, this is a good question for you.
Really good question.
More cash buyers or mortgages. And if you can purchase with cash, should you? Because that's the other question I get is, they're selling their house and they're making like $500,000 on their house. They're coming here and buying a $400,000 house. What's the answer? Like, is it smarter to like look at getting a small mortgage, or should they just pay cash for the house? What are your thoughts, Brian? Tell us.
Well, my first thought is get connected with a financial advisor. In a certain way, I mean, I'd like to consider myself and try to do a little bit of that with, the clients that we work with, is walking through people, let's be smart and, be educated about this. But if I had that kind of money, I would want to find out, all right, because the more money you invest, and if you're going to get a decent amount of growth, compounding interest means you make more money. So I would talk to a financial advisor first. Aubree, I'm sure you know a few, and that would be a great, because from just a knee-jerk reaction for me, I would say pay cash. But
yeah, I mean, that's going to be a cleaner contract. It's going to be easier to close, but at the same time, I don't know, like, I'm kind of team, like, keep liquid cash. You never know what might happen. So I don't know if that's
Yeah.
all the cash you have, maybe I would say get a loan. If that's not all the cash you have and you have, like, I saw a bank account sent over a couple weeks ago for proof of funds that had over $1 million sitting in it. And I was like, you can pay cash for this
That's a
house.
good point. If you bring that up, we're about to close on one next week,
Mhm.
and my clients have over 2 million in the bank, and we're financing. So
Oh,
everybody's got a. One of the things that I try to, when I'm talking with people and just
mhm,
advising through the financing thing, is not necessarily what I would say is the right move. Everybody's got a different opinion on what's good for them. So
mhm.
asking the right questions and going, what do you want to accomplish? Right?
Yeah.
What do you want this money to do for you? And just run with somebody on going for that. So there's no one right answer. And I like to really press that for people that the I like to liken it like buying a car. I used to be in the car business
Uh,
a long time ago, and people would come in and it's like, we want to bargain for the absolute best deal ever. And sometimes if they feel like they didn't get the best deal ever, they'll walk away with a brand new car that they've always wanted, but they won't be happy because the deal that they got, they will never know. They feel like they maybe didn't quite get the best. And I'm like,
mhm.
that's not a good way to live. Try to find something that's
No.
going to be good for you and find someone who helps you run that down.
Yeah, I mean, and oh man, I worked with somebody recently that wanted to get a deal, and it they from a house standpoint, it's one of those where I like you don't have to get a deal on this house. Like
Mm,
the numbers work,
right.
everything looks great. And then they ultimately didn't move forward on it. But then we went and we found like the forever house, or at least the house that they're going to send their kids to college from. That's what I say is like, you've got your starter house, your in between house, and then it's usually the house that they're going to send the kids to college from. And then
Yep.
they're going to downsize if they stay in the same area. And like, they didn't negotiate hardly at all on this other one. It's crazy.
Right.
Um, but man,
You
all
live in a house, not the best deal, right? You live in the house, not the best deal.
yeah, and
But I
it's
like Glenn's question. Sorry.
yeah,
Because
go
I think it's also an interesting analytical data point here. We were looking at data points. Are there more cash buyers or people who are financing? And the truth is cash buyers are increasing, but they haven't, at least in the last time I heard, and I wish I had the numbers pulled up, but last time I heard it was about 30-ish% of purchases were paid in cash right now, which was an increase from where we saw even over just 2 or 3 years ago.
I mean, we're seeing the greatest the where the greatest amount of equity is, we're seeing that wealth change hands.
Yep.
I mean, it's going from the boomer generation through the silent generation to the millennial generation.
Yep.
And millennials are the ones that are buying houses right now. And I can't tell you how many times I've seen, yeah, well, mom's given us this or grandma's given me this. Help us
Mhm.
buy the house. Help us get where we need to get the interest rate. And that's what, like, that's the big financial shift I feel like right now that the country's wealth is moving generations at the moment.
Yep.
So,
That's fair. Yeah, we're seeing that in the headlines too. A
mhm.
lot of first-time home buyers are getting substantial gifts from family.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. So good question, Glenn. Thanks. Let's see here. Diane, I think we kind of looked on this. Prefab houses tend to appraise for less than site built houses. Yeah, they price for less. But I don't think it's necessarily appraised for like they're gonna appraise for what they're valued
The
at.
demand, I would say that they're going to sell for less. The demand is going to be lower because when you're just to address the appraisal point, you're not going to compare a prefabbed house to what we
Mm,
call a stick built
yeah.
house. Those are not comparables. So technically, it would appraise less, but also demand.
Truth.
There's just yeah.
But I will say this about like mobile homes, modular homes, stuff like that. What we saw during COVID is they appreciated in value.
An insane amount.
So much value.
Yep. When I first,
And
yeah, sorry.
what?
I was saying when I first started, I was kind of taught it was like, you don't want to do that. It's not going to appreciate. Now we're talking about a house in 2019.
$250,000 double wide.
with a walk-in shower.
Exactly. It doesn't have a paved driveway or anything. It's probably mud, but it's $250,000.
Yep, it's true. It's true.
Sorry, we're poking fun. They
But
really
it's
can be good houses, but
it's
y'all,
home. It's what when we have that conversation with people, because I have had some people that they just go, hey, listen, look, Brian, I know it's a double wide, but it's really the only thing I can afford. I'm like, hey, it's not. There's no shame in it.
No
It's
shame.
home, right? We still make sure it's permanently attached to the land. It's real estate. It's you are now owning real estate. There's no shame. Period.
And it holds value.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I've not seen them depreciate. If a prefab house is taken care of, and especially here in the upstate, like as long as they're taken care of, I've even seen flipped like mobile homes or modular homes that are really nice.
Man, the
I'm
investors are all about flipping them big time.
Yeah, because usually they're easy to take apart and put back together too.
You know what?
That
would be a very interesting conversation to have on one of your live streams. Just throwing it out there. Just give me some ideas.
An investor who flips properties.
Yep, because I've heard some stories. I've heard some stories.
We were talking about it earlier. Who puts lipstick on a pig versus actually does the job right.
Right.
I walked in one day. That was a lipstick on a pig.
I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, that's the right now. It's in my opinion, that seems to be all the rage for an investor. Like if you've got the money, like right now, buying a double wide is gonna make a lot more sense because you could buy it for a little bit cheaper, put a decent amount of money in it, make it look great, and still these investors can make some money off of it versus trying to go buy, that 1935 bungalow, that's gonna cost a fortune, yeah.
All sorts of things. Golly.
Oh my gosh, Juliana.
I know. I saw this. Look. That's like, can we just go ahead and say dad joke?
Oh, 100%.
That's such a dad joke. Oh my goodness.
If I could get a sticker, I would. Tim Russell had a few good questions.
Yeah, I'm looking at this. I'm like, been tracking 2 properties. Ooh, my goodness. Is the market stalling out? Been tracking 2 properties that both have had price reductions. Is this overpricing or market contraction? Brian, I see you have thoughts.
Well, my thought was, Tim, I don't know if you saw the chart Aubree had up earlier, but I think that would really address the question. And it really kind of addresses the question. There it is. You remember, I don't know, it was weeks ago, you leaned over at me and you said, Brian, do you think we're in a quiet correction? But I think you've answered that with just a few minutes ago, just talking about who you're working with, right? And really it's, are you able to separate yourself, your emotions from the strategy? Because a lot of times what's happening is like when you're talking about people want to price up here because there is emotion to it. This is my house. These are the, I have a financial situation I want to achieve.
I have to sell for because this is the house that I want. And I have to make this much money for me to feel happy. Well, could you actually, I went through this last summer. I was like, I should be able to sell my house for $650,000. And then I got really looking at the market and some very good friends of mine went, Aubree, you need to sell your house for probably around 600,000.
Yep.
It hurt so bad. And I did. And then I sold it without it going on market. And all the houses in that neighborhood are still selling for right around that price. Wow. So I didn't have to go through showings and I still got what the house was valued at.
Right.
But I will say this, market is not stalling out. A stalling out market would mean that we are actually more in a buyer's market and we have 6+ months worth of inventory. And so when Brian was like, hey, look, the sheet, let's go look at the line items. Here's what I'm seeing. More inventory. We haven't seen this much inventory. Resale sales are at the lowest they've been since the 90s because of our new construction sales. But here's what I would say about this. New construction has needed to catch up because we've been in a 14-year deficit since the housing crisis. And so they are catching up. And we're seeing it in the pricing right here. This is still an appreciating market. Whenever this starts, I mean, but this 1%, 1.8% median price, that's a stabilized, that
Mhm.
there it is.
Median. Oh, if you don't mind addressing this too,
Mhm.
average price versus median price. And what I find interesting, and I'm not a huge mathematician here, but my wife and I had a very good conversation about this because she's really good at math and this analyzing stuff. But what I
Course.
find interesting is our average price is so much higher than our median price. And a lot of times people will look at the median price and go, 1.8%. Oh my gosh, that's terrible. But the median price is literally the price dead smack in the middle. If you listed everything out, right? Versus the average price is being affected by the cumulative of everything. So, in my opinion, I think the average is a better.
We're doing basically what's normal. Like, and that's what we're getting back to
Right.
is especially, so the Greenville market, I think, is a very insulated market where housing keeps its price, housing appreciates still, but Greenville market housing appreciates at about a 4 to 7% rate. And if that 4% though is right on the money where we should say like the Greenville market's still healthy, houses are still selling. Yes, you are seeing more houses sit on the market for longer, and it does mean that they're priced too high.
Yep.
That's it. And
That's a good answer there. It's just priced too high. It's not an indication of the market. Like you were saying earlier, it's just if you did draw a kind of a range of like, yeah, could you price your house here? You could, but is the, let's be real.
Are you willing to sit on the market
Right.
for 90 to 110 days?
Right.
Or do you want to sell in 2 weeks?
The other thought that I had too is we talk about appreciation, 4%, right? So going back before the pandemic, prior to 2020, home values in state of South Carolina, probably even in the upstate, appreciation was 5% year over year. One of the things that we don't talk about a lot or think about a lot is that the country, like we were coming out of a horrific financial event or economic event, right? And massive economic growth coming through after 2010, right? Through the teens. People are recovering on their credit scores. All of a sudden, people are now able to start buying houses now. The demand is growing. So we see this appreciated value in homes. What I'll tell you this is what's not sustainable is I don't think 5% is really where we need to be. We could, in my opinion, I think a healthy market can still be reflecting a 2% appreciation. Because if you think about it, you own a house that's $400,000 and it's appreciating 2% every single year. I mean, $8,000 in value increase every single year. You lived there for 5 years and now your house is worth $40,000 more.
What?
That's pretty significant, right?
Fantastic investment. Like, I don't know any account I can go put my money in and do that.
Right. Oh, and that's great news, right? The other thing too is when we talk about home values going up, when we talk about the ability to afford, I think there's a difference between going back to 2015 and you're looking at a house worth 175 appreciating at 5% versus looking at a house that once the house at 175 in 2015 is probably worth, I don't know, 350 now.
I mean, look at this. I mean, 5% on 175 is 8750. If you go, okay, so now we're going to add 8750 to this house, then it's 183. And you go, well, hey, look at that. It's 183. And then let's say it appreciates another 5%. So then there, and it just, I mean, you're up to a 200,000 and you go over and over and over, and then you're a $240,000 house.
Fast. And then you throw in a year where you went up 20% in value. Yep. So not saying that we need to hit the negative. I'm not saying that the market's going to go backwards, but what I am saying is we need, when the news is really good at sensationalizing these numbers. They go, oh man, we're at 1% or 2% appreciation. The market is in trouble. And the thing about it is we're in trouble if we're going 7 to 8% appreciation. We're marching forward, then affordability is going to become more of an issue, regardless if interest rates go to 2%. It doesn't matter. That huge jump isn't sustainable. So all that to say is 4% is great. That means we're still seeing the strength in our real estate market. But at the same time, if it pulls back a little bit, that's not doesn't mean the alarm bells need to be rung.
No.
And the market does this, right? We're going to
Yeah.
go into the winter months and we could see pullback during November. So
Absolutely. I mean, we've got, I don't know, I think the upstate's really, I don't know, when it comes to the market and buying homes here, selling homes here, we're very healthy, very insulated for everything that's going on here.
mhm,
For sure.
mhm.
Okay, so we've got that. Hope we answered that question. Like, it's pretty strong. I do want to drop a quick note here because we've got a QR code up here in the right-hand corner of the screen. So if you are watching and you're like, hey, we want more information, or can you shoot me over Brian's information or connect you guys via email or something like that, you want to get your financing figured out, or you just have numbers questions, Brian's great for stuff like that too. Feel free to scan the QR code. It goes directly to our website, and there's a couple things that we can do for you. One, we can schedule a call. We can connect you with Brian because he's awesome. Or we have this really cool thing. It's free. If you haven't received one before, you should. But if you're thinking about Greenville, we also give out oh, look at you. You did it.
It works.
It works. We will send you a relocation packet with Greenville stuff and swag. And I was talking to Laura Beth today, actually, and about these relocation packets. And she's like, Aubree, they're starting to burst at the seams. We're getting like all of these fun, like free things. And we're putting stuff in there that we find at like, I don't know, the Chamber of Commerce, and we grab a big stack of it. And I'm like, we're going to have to go to a box. Because now we just send them in a first class envelope, and it's a whole big folder.
Top notch. That is top notch.
It's so great. So maybe we should put your information in there. That way
I do like a poster. I'm gonna do kind of like maybe a James Bond style financing.
It needs to fit in. How big is a first class envelope? Like a 9x12 envelope.
We'll talk about a box.
We'll talk about the box. It'll be fine. Give me some swag. Oh, geez. Okay. I want to talk more about the market, but I also want a quick chat about some of the stuff that's coming soon here in Greenville. So we talked about this earlier, and you guys are just going to have to deal with me here. So this coming weekend is the 39th annual Greenville Greek Festival. There's this beautiful Greek church that's downtown, and my husband has to miss the Greek Festival. He's very sad. It's one of his favorite things that comes to Greenville. But here's the deal. We're just going to call it like it is, Brian. I don't like Greek food. It is not my thing.
I wasn't going to say it, but you outed yourself.
I did.
Girl.
Well, I had to. It's just not my thing. I don't like Greek. I have been to the Greek Festival. It is a lot of fun, and I like anything that is sweet. So all of the desserts, I am right there for it. But I don't like any of this food.
Euros. So I'm not super discriminatory of food. Very short list of things I don't like.
Mm-hmm.
But man, I love Euros. I don't want to gross you out. I'm sorry, but it's just
no. Can
I saw they got a lemonade stand. That's pretty awesome.
They have. Here's my quick story about Greek food. After I had my third child, I think I've told you this. After I had my third child, our church group brought dinner, and the first person who brought us dinner brought us Greek food. And after they left, I cried.
You know what they say about good intentions. I won't finish the rest of it. But
I was so sad. I was so hungry because I was like, baby was 3 days old, and all those mom things, and I cried because it was Greek food. It was gyros. So anyways,
but the festival is fun, right?
The festival is fun. I went to the festival map because this kind of shows like it's the amphitheater dance stage area. Lots of fun things to do there. The cafeteria is where like you go through and you get like massive boxes of food. The amount of food that Rob comes home with from this thing is nuts. He usually would work it as a police officer, so that was fun for him. But downtown's going to be insane. Last weekend was insane downtown because of Artisphere and Mother's Day. Did you get to go to Artisphere, Brian?
I did not.
I
did not get to go to Artisphere.
I felt really bad, like sick, grossness. Look at John. Festival map time. Look, I've got special maps for you tonight, John. So this is this weekend. And then another thing, and then we'll jump back over to the comments just to see what else we've got. Also, no, we're going to, Mark, how dare you? Look at this comment.
Oh my gosh.
Absolutely
Christy.
brutal.
Christy Concy.
Yep, you're gonna have to, Mark, you're gonna have to talk to Christy now.
Yeah, we've got that. So you're good. The real estate agent part of all this has been cornered. So if it's not Aubree, we definitely know someone else.
That's so funny. Oh my goodness. Oh geez. Okay. Then we were talking about another. So I don't think anything crazy is happening next weekend, right? Because the Scottish games.
You did, yeah, the Scottish games.
Yeah, the Scottish games are the 24th, and Memorial Day is the 26th. Am I right? I think. That's when, so this would be considered Memorial Day weekend. Yes.
Yep. Memorial Day is on the Monday, and then yeah.
Yep. So here's one of your big things that you have to do Memorial Day weekend. Scottish games. So much fun. Yep. Look, there's the whole big thing with the log.
Yeah. As a kid though, I remember it being bigger. I'm just saying, I think maybe 2025. I have this visualization when I was like 5 that these men, I mean, I'm thinking like a full-size tree. I'm like, these things are massive. How are they picking them up? But I don't know. Competitions.
Like, so I love going to the Scottish games. It's so much fun. It's easy to go with kids and it's easy to go and like walk around, but they've got the clans all around the field and lots of bagpipes.
Lots of bagpipes.
Lots of bagpipes. But it's on Furman University's campus. Here's another map for you, John. So really, let's see here if I can do this. Can I click on the map? Yes, John, you can go to the Scottish games if you're Irish. Just don't tell anybody. You can go with me or Brian, since apparently we've got something going on. Brian,
make a fake ID. They card you.
It'll be fine. I will say, like, this is. Oh, they also. I forgot about this. They have the car show as well at the same time. So you have the British car show.
The British car show. That sounds a little dangerous. Like, I feel like there's not necessarily. It's not total bad blood, but like Scottish games, thanks to the British car show. Like, yeah, it sounds like poor planning. That's
funny. Oh my goodness. I've actually never been over to the British car show, just been to the Scottish games. If you're going, and Brian, because this would be your first time going, you'll want to, there's 2 entrances onto Furman campus off of Duncan Chapel. So you'll want to.
Oh yeah.
I got some good parking over here off of what is it? Is that Dens Drive? And over here, and it's an easy walk right through here.
That's fair.
And they have so it's more than just like Scottish game type things, but there's vendors, then you have the clans. So if you know your clan, you can go and like claim where you are. And then they also have this weird, like, how do I say this? Like goats. They have lots of animals at the Scottish Games, which my kids loved. And they go and show you how herding dogs will herd sheep and goats. And they do it out on the field.
That's awesome.
It's pretty cool. I hadn't had it, but like, yeah, it was just the whole thing. Oh, look, here's
a better map.
A better map.
Wow.
So Memorial Day weekend, this is the big thing to go to. British Car Show, you'll go to the main gate. Look, and then another map. All the maps on this. A
little dumb. I don't want to say dumb down, but a little more basic. Yeah.
I will say last year.
Are the cars on the left side of this map to be full British, you know?
Ryan.
Oh.
British Car Show, you go in through the main gate of Furman, which is here, all the way up here. This is Poinsett Highway. And I would go, if you're going to the British Car Show, I'd go in through the main entrance over here. If you are going to the Scottish Games, I would not drive all the way down here to the main entrance of Furman. I would actually get off at the exit before Furman. And then I would take Duncan Chapel Road, which is right here, and then get to the games from there. So just saying.
I'll take the better parking and the closer walk versus the pretty entrance.
How would you do
every
that?
Time?
Seeing this reminded me that the food is amazing. And last year we saw them parachute in with like different flags onto the main field for like the start of the games. It was so cool. Definitely not something to miss.
Since you don't like Greek food, what did you like best at the Scottish Games? You can lie if you need to. It's okay.
Pies.
Little shepherd's pies, maybe, kind of,
but it's like a full, like, it's like a biscuit filled with like meat and vegetables. It was very good.
That sounds amazing.
It was very good. I got my kids to eat there, which was saying something.
I think as a parent,
there's lots of fried pastry things as well, savory and sweet.
Interesting.
Yes. Okay. All right. Enough about all this. Fun things to do around Greenville. There's always something to do around Greenville. John, yes, no, but there is haggis. Yes, but that is not my favorite thing. Do they have little Highland cows? No, I didn't see any Highland cows. But I know places where they are. And then
go see them. Do not buy one.
Yeah, just go see them. Let's see here. Is there anything else in here we need to add tonight? Looks like you took care of Glenn's question over here in the comments.
Oh yeah, I just figured I didn't want to get lost.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that we could cover, and I can do it in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Rates bad. Hold on. We'll see.
Oh yeah. Are the rates bad right now? Well, on the ones that we're closing this week, what are the interest rates?
We got a 6er.
Yeah,
I actually got it pulled up, but I was gonna cheat and take a look. I'm just running down the list where I got a 6. I got all over the place. 6, 6.875, 6.75, 6.5, 6 1/4. I got a couple of 7s in there. But we're in between that 6 and 7 range.
If you closed on a house last year in the 7% range, when would you refi?
Ooh.
Would you refi whenever it's 6%, or would you go like, would you wait and see if it goes down to 5?
Rule of thumb, 1%. If you can get the rate to drop 1% with minimal cost here. Okay. So could you get a 6% interest rate in refi? You could. Do you also want to fork over thousands of dollars to make that happen? Maybe not. So when we're talking about rates, what I do?
I don't know. See, you just opened up the can of worms.
Yeah.
So
1%. The rates go down
1%. 1%. Okay.
There you go.
And right now, I mean, this time last year, we were talking 7% interest, 7 and 8% interest rates. So I would say that right now, interest rates aren't bad compared to last year. They're better.
Let's be honest. And I may have said this before.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been saying this a lot to a lot of people over the past couple of years now. This is probably the normal. This is going to be the new normal.
Yeah.
For a long time. And I would rather be wrong. Trust me, I would rather be wrong. Happily will be wrong. So if I'm wrong, everybody, please record this. Keep a receipt. Brian, you know, rates go back down to 4.
We'll be on here forever, Brian.
Yep. And you know what? I'll be happily wrong, because then I'll be reading off a list of clients with great rates. So, but I don't want to give false hope, right? You get 4, you get 5, you get, yeah. I don't want to give false hope.
This is the normal.
Right. And I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but to book in this real quick, given this market, you mentioned maybe from the statistics standpoint, we're not in necessarily a full-blown buyer's market, but Aubree, you and your team have been negotiating amazing contracts with seller credit that is allowing people to get lower interest rates. So
that's true. Lots of seller credits in there. So also been negotiating a lot of other things like fences and buildings and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's amazing.
It's been a lot of fun. So, well, cool. Well, just like that, Brian, an hour went by. That was a lot of fun. Cool. Well,
I guess I'll do a live stream after Aubree. I don't know what I'll call it. I'll just call it post Aubree Lewis live stream.
Post party.
After hours.
After hours.
Mortgage after hours.
Ooh, that'd be fun. Golly. All right, Brian. Cool. I'll talk to you later. Thanks for joining us, and
thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Things. And you guys, let us know if you need anything. Scan the QR code. Let us know if we can connect you to Brian. And we'll talk to you later. Bye.